Okay.
But as it's loading, we'll just wait to start the PowerPoint part until it's loaded completely.
Perfect. One last more thing. The first one, we're gonna take 10 minutes, yeah?
Yes,
Maximum 10
exactly.
minutes. Perfect. Okay. Oh,
Perfect.
I
Okay,
can, okay.
so I will share to Facebook now.
Okay. Hmm? ወይኔ መብራት ጠፋ። እንደው የእነሱን እና የእኛን ብታይ እነሱ ጋር ብርሃን ነው፣ እኛ ጋር ጨለማ ያለ። ናይስ።
Okay.
Okay.
So thank you to everyone who has joined us today. My name is Andy Dahmer, and I am the Exchange Program Manager here at the World Affairs Council of Kentucky and Southern Indiana. So before we start out, I just wanted to give a brief overview of the World Affairs Council. So the World Affairs Council of Kentucky and Southern Indiana delivers opportunities for our community to connect with global leaders and engage with peers on international issues. Through our unique lineup of programs, WAC is the regional hub for international exchange, dialogue, and learning. And today I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Yonas Hailu. He is a 2019 alumnus of one of our IVLP programs through the Department of State. And I'd like to start out just by giving a brief overview of Yonas and his biography. So Yonas was born in Ethiopia, and he's an award-winning visual artist, art educator, and creative director based in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. He graduated from Addis Ababa University in the School of Fine Art and Design and the Department of Visual Communication and Graphics in 2010. Following graduation, Yonas taught art for 4 years from 2010 to 2014. He is also the winner of the Qatar International Art Exhibition in 2019, the Art of Asia Award in 2019, the Art of Bahrain ARTBAB in 2018, and the World Design Week in 2019. Yonas Hailu's artworks have been exhibited internationally in Los Angeles, Ireland, Denmark, Sao Paulo, and the Kingdom of Bahrain. Yonas believes that art is the highest and truest self-expression of humankind, and he believes that each artist has their own style, own story to tell, and own point of view. In his own words, that is why art has such a mysterious way to tell stories of our own different corners of the world, both spiritually and culturally. And that's why art is so significant and important to society. The creative arts are the measure of society's identity, self-knowledge, and collaborative living. Today, Yonas will discuss the impact of his IVLP experience in Louisville, Kentucky, and the impact of visual art as a lifelong journey of self-discipline shaped by one's desire, community, education, and life experiences. So we are so excited to have Yonas here today and to welcome him. And to start out, he would like to just give a brief overview of his time in Kentucky. So I will go ahead and share a PowerPoint that he has made that just says a little bit more about his experience here. And to preface, if you all have any questions throughout the program, please ask those in the chat, and we'll have a period for question and answers at the conclusion of the discussion here today. So without further ado, I will go ahead and share Jonas's PowerPoint.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank World Affairs Council and the Kentucky and Southern Indiana. It is a great honor and privilege to also to invite me as a guest. International Visiting Leadership Program is a prestigious program that allows artists, creative thinkers, and others who want us to experience USA. So I have the chance to participate in 2019, and it was one of a life-changing experience in my creative process. These are some of my international visiting leadership program across Washington, D.C., Florida, Miami, Louisville, and San Francisco. So, Andy, could you be next? Yes. So the International Visiting Leadership Program, Louisville family are very exciting, energetic, and they composed from dancer, singer, and all other different peoples. You can see that we create as a connection of creating family. By the way, there's my profile when near to Muhammad Ali's paintings has been liked a lot by in 2019, and that's why I put it one on one. So this is Team Louisville. Next. So this is also the other team in Los Angeles comparing to Team Louisville. So in Louisville, I have learned a lot about Louisville. First of all, from my very interesting point is that a lot of people don't like to be named Louisville or Louisville. So I heard that. So it has, I think, 4 spellings, different spellings as Louisville. So that was my first impression about Louisville. Then we have the chance to land in May 1. So in May, the Kentucky Derby is one of the most landmark in Louisville. So we have the chance to see. Then after that, there is a big welcoming party so that all of the Louisville family will welcome us in Iraq Park. So next. So this is also a very interesting project that has made by Louisville high schools. So in the high school, I've seen people are really wants to be heard, and they are also very good basketball players. So a lot of stories about the young people voice in Louisville High School is written, shared, and communicated. So that is a wonderful thing that I have experienced. As a matter of fact, I bought one beautiful book from a collections of my stories and my voice. From this, I inspired and done another art piece. I will show you later. Next. So this is a park that I really fell in love. It is called Iroix. How do you pronounce? Iroquois. Yes, the park is one of the most beautiful park I have seen next to New York, and it seems like the architect, the landscape architect, is the father of the architect of Central Park West is the son of this architect. So it is a kind of a father and a son relationship. So in the design, I can see, I can relate it, that Central Park West, Central Park with this park. So it is a very beautiful healing park. So I've inspired and paint a lot of art pieces from this particular park. I will show you later. And you can see Laura, one of the tour operator, and Miss Linda, who organized Team Louisville also. So we had such a wonderful time on this particular time. And next. So here also I have seen one of my inspirational icon, Muhammad Ali. I used to think Muhammad Ali is a very good fighter, but it ended up he's not only a fighter, he really is a best advocate for youngsters like us who want us to take initiative in our lives. So his life is beautiful and unforgettable. So I have seen his life, and the museum is fantastic. So next. So these are Team Louisville, who has made also the different places. What I really love about Louisville is that Louisville is a big state in a small city. That means it have everything from entertainment to intellectual dialogue or different museums, even a beautiful landmark like Waterfront, Muhammad Ali Center, Derby, Kentucky, in Churchill Down. So these all are found in Louisville. So I feel the people are also the most friendly people that I've met. So I heard about Louisville is also one of the friendliest, one of the most friendly city across the states. So next. So in here, Louisville Art Center, we also have the chance to participate with the disabled people who also made beautiful art pieces. So I have the chance also to work with them and to see how they think. And we also made an art piece together. So it is the best experience for me. And next. And this is also one of my favorite gallery. It is called Flex Gallery in 1619. Actually, in this gallery, from all of the states that I've visited, one of the most intellectual dialogue has been made in this gallery. We have the chance to talk about global issues like migration or social diversity, LGBTQ, and education. Particularly, we have discussed in humanity. As you see us, we are from different continents and different countries, having the chance to talk in this, because in some countries culture, it is a taboo. For example, LGBTQ is a taboo for different countries, like even my country. But we have also the chance to talk, communicate freely, and able to share experience also from others. So this was one of the most intellectual dialogues that I have made with the cultural curator and with all the team. Okay, next. Oh, this is also one of the art pieces that I made from the park. The park is so beautiful, it is natural, and I have the chance also to see there is a kind of conservational, natural conservational aspects. So Louisville is a state with beautiful landscape and very natural representation. So I keep doing some art pieces from particular this park. And next, this is also another piece that I made from the park. Actually, we have the chance to spent 3 days because of me. I organized my team, so we have the chance also to clean the park regarding with the recycling one. So during that purpose, I used to go with my sketchbook and with my pastels. So that's why I made different views from Irusk Park. So this is my experience in Louisville. Generally, I learn people connected with each other. I learn beautiful landmarks like the Waterfall Park. I learn Muhammad Ali Center, and one of also my inspirational person, Abraham Lincoln's house, is also found in Louisville. I have the chance to see that personally with one of my colleagues because I always wonder what kind of leader could be living in what area. So I have the chance to visit there. And I didn't mention Bourbon. Kentucky is also very famous by bourbon. Actually, I have the chance to drink 1792 and it was very interesting. I didn't drink that much, but I have tasted. It was a signature drink, and I've also seen old Louisville in a Victorian house collections, beautiful architectural representations. So, as a matter of in fact, I have seen Louisville with a small city but a large town. That means people are connected. There is a lot of activities, musics, culture, and there is also Derby, Kentucky Derby. So I have also visited Churchill Down. So in all, I really fall in love with Louisville because the people are friendly and they also share their stories and cultures, which this platform also give me allow to experience World Affair Councils, particularly in this platform. So it is a greatest opportunity also to not only express myself but also to learn from others. So
And I
it is
think
a great.
that's a perfect transition to go into your formal presentation. So I'll go ahead and share screen so that we can see your PowerPoint.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. So my PowerPoint is also from my international visiting leadership experience, but also I have the chance to travel all around the world. So what is the value of art? What is art in general? For me, art is a vital persistence aspect of human experience. So it is a viral and persistence aspect of human experience. So in which particular, it is also the highest intellectual self-expression of a human experience. That means every human that have the chance to see art is have lived art in by the power of imagination and by the power of visualization. So the questions must be if there is art, uh, where does this artistic impulse comes from? So why human beings keep doing art and why human beings keep persisting to do art? One of the reasons that I have experienced is that it is a question of who we are. So as a, especially in 21st century, as a contemporary human beings, who we are, how we share our life with one another, and what would be our stories need to be told for our loved ones, for the next generations. So these very powerful issues could be revealed, communicate, and experience through art. So the very important inspiration comes from pure dialogue of humanity and culture. So culture is the highest consciousness of a human being that would create art. So in this project, I inspired from the Louisville High School project called My Story. I learned their stories and I starting to wonder about my stories in my country. So in my country, a lot of people have the chance to travel abroad, and through this process, they would lose their identity. And this is one of the art pieces that has been exhibited in Germany called My Stories, including all in migrations culture and try to fit in different culture while holding your own culture. So as you can see, there is no strict boundaries of a portrait of this guy. His name is Johannes, and he have the chance to travel more than 3 countries, and he have lived a short period of his time in his country, Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. So he always feel like he feel a ghost or a stranger in his own country because he has learned and stayed for more than 10 years in different countries like Germany, France, and UK. So I have the chance to talk to him, and I wanted to depict his voice. So that's why it is called My Story, and every story has its own boundaries. That is why I have the chance to reveal this digital artwork for the International Migration Organization. And next. This is also one of my art piece called In Searching of Wisdom. Wisdom in my country has a wax and gold meaning. The wax is more related with identity and humanity. And the gold always stays with different cultures. So these are a typical Ethiopian cultures. You can see the shields. Ethiopian is a country who has never been colonized. So there is a lot of pride and history and a lot of history of war. So there is also a color basket called safed. It is also made by everything is made by hand. So starting from scratch to this beautiful color basket, they made it by hand. And also the cultural dress called tibab. The dress itself is called tibab, which means wisdom. So it is a typical Ethiopian identity contemporary paintings that I have made. It is oil on canvas. This is also a next concept of in searching of wisdom. So my concept is that we are always defined by what we do, in what we wear or what we have done. So rather than to make to express the person, I try to express the belongingness, the authentic cultural belongingness of Ethiopian people. So that's why I experience different kind of Ethiopian traditional clothes that will allow me to harmonize and create a strong sense of belongingness. So this is one of the project called In Searching of Wisdom or Tibab. This is also another series of In Searching of Wisdom. As you see, I am trying to play with different compositions and different stories by creating these cultural clothes as a persona. So I try to create Ethiopian persona, but in a modern way and in a different way, because this cultural dress not only a dress, it is deeply attached with humanity. For example, in our country, when a human being is get birth, people come and give you as a gift for the best wishes. When that man or woman has grown and get married, people again will give you this traditional clothes for a beautiful bride and groom. And at last, when people get died or when people die, again these cultural traces will gonna be given for to become remembered as an Ethiopian, remembered as an old Ethiopian man or woman. So it is not only a clothes, but it is also attached with our Ethiopian lifestyle, and it is made also. This dress is made also one of the wisest mothers who can weave. Everything is made by hand. That's why it is so colorful and it is time taking to take. So that's why I represent this traditional clothes called tibab. Is a kind of Ethiopian persona without representing Ethiopian person. And as I told you, we have the chance also to give different dialogues, and we also learn and share a lot of stories that we cannot stand on that particular stories. That's why I really love about talking for LGBTQ, migration, social diversity, education, and finally, as a human beings, whether we are far or north or south or east or west, we share the same problem because we have the same humanity. Because of the reason we have the same humanity, we feel, we share, we communicate. That's why it is very important. This kind of dialogue should be always aware to create highest form of consciousness. So it is one of the best experience from my Louisville experience. And these all these landscapes, including the sun with the birds rotating around the sun. These all have made from the Aquarius Park, Eroes Park. So I have the chance to visit the park deeply as much as possible. And as much as and we had also the best night cleaning the park and able to share and communicate with the gardeners and the community. So in this park not only gave a story for me, but it also gave a lot of stories for the community of Louisville. Some of them associated with their first child. Others told me that associated with their children get married on this park, and others also associated with their uh, daily lifestyle. As a matter of in fact, I have the chance to see fall a little bit. Uh, so there are other places that I didn't see in fall, but I have seen fall around this park. So it is one of the most beautiful park that I have visited on my IVLP program. This is also made from that particular park. This is at the peak. There is a place that you can see from up to down. So you can see there is a hill and a spring around the park. So I have the chance to find the gardener, the chief of the gardener of the park. So he showed me all around to the peak point of that park. Actually, we stayed 3 days and nights in the park. So I'm very lucky to visit the park deeply. So this is also one of the paintings from the park scene. And this is also one of the experience from my New York visit. I also have the chance to paint this quickly as quickly as possible because it is a fast sketch as you see it, and I have made a quick thumbnail sketches in pastel in oil. So these oil paintings come from the first landmark of sketch. Actually, New York is much more different than Louisville that I have experienced. It seems like a ghost town, a very big city, but doesn't match a lot of activities as Louisville that I have seen. Louisville seems a very small city, but there is a lot of humanity and activity that I have experienced. That's why it seems a little bit lonely with a lot of buildings, skyscraper buildings. This is also my visit from Washington, D.C., from Thomas Jefferson's memorial. So, as I told you, spring has been becoming. So, I am very lucky to have to be inspired and to paint a lot of also places, landmarks in Washington, D.C. So, this is my favorite spot that I paint. And this is also my another favorite place, Smithsonian collections. As a matter of in fact, it reminds me one person called Smithsonian has created an opportunity for to be collecting art, creating art and dialogue in art. He has the chance to create this so that now in Washington, D.C., everybody has the chance, can able to visit museums. And this makes it Washington, D.C. the most visiting states around United States of America. I can see that a single human experience could change a lot of impact. Actually, that was the most important thing in art. Maybe my point of view could be, it seems like little, but the impact that it will create will be enormous, especially for the youngsters one. So after he has started this Smithsonian institution, he wants us to visit from France in Washington, D.C. And by that time, uh, museums are only for rich people, so there is no place for the other people who want to learn and to visit about the culture. So just opposing this idea, he's starting to create a collections of himself, and he started a small museum called Smithsonian. Now Smithsonian is under different states. Even it has not only artistical heritage, but it has also natural heritage like a big zoos, historical heritage like the Museum for American History and others, even the history of the world in geology, in archaeology, in architecture, and others. So collaboration could give us a lot of things. So that is what I really inspired from the Smithsonian collections. And this is also one of the favorite spot from Disneyland Park in Los Angeles. We have the chance to visit Los Angeles entertainment places and others. But what it really inspired me is that when I was a kid, I used to watch Mickey Mouse and other Lulu and others characteristics that really fell in love. The power of art could really give a world not only for the kids but for the bigger version for adult also. So they made it to look like real world. So the Walt Disney Park is the world for the children to visit, but it also gave me as an adult, it also gave me a place where I can really related my childhood to reality. So it is a very impressive architectural representation, and everything, including the landscape architecture and the other things, allow the kids to be fairy tales. If you work hard, fairy tales could be real sometimes in your life. So I learned this point from Disneyland Park. And this is also one of my favorite museum that I visited. That's why I painted while I was standing there. Actually, I'm very lucky. The hotel that I have stayed is directly, like the site is directly fit for my artistic creativity. So that's why I sketch, and then I paint from all the ideas. Frank Ogeri is the architect. He's also one of the most respected architect in the world. But the place is amazing because it always inspired me, seeing very famous painters like Andy Warhol and Jacob David Louis from France. There are also beautiful American abstract expressionists like Jackson Pollock and others. So one day, if I have the chance to be lucky, I would like to have an art exhibition when I become like old. So it inspired me. It is an intellectual property also. A lot of people come and go and visit this famous place. So it is indeed an inspiration to be there. This is also from Eroes Park from Louisville. As you see, it inspired me because the landscape and the season is so different where I live. In my country, there is no fall and winter. There is no summer because of the reason we are so close to equator. We cannot distinguish the season and the color and the um, it is either in sunny days or rainy days. Most of the time, June, July, and August is rainy days for us, but most of the time it is always green and mountainous. But here, when I see, even by the time I visit Washington, D.C., then when I move to other states, the season is different. So in Louisville, what I really love about is that the color of the season and the color of the air is so much different from others. So I feel like very closer to nature other than states. When I think of Louisville, I associate myself with deeply closer to nature. This is also another piece from Louisville. You can see that the fresh water and even the cloud and the mountainous area is much more than natural than artificial in other places. So once Raphael, one of the greatest painter in Renaissance, states that when you are very closer to nature, you are closer to the eternity of God. It is amazing. This saying is very true because it allows me to really to see closely what Louisville can offer for an international visitor like me. So there is a lot to natural places to visit. And I heard that this park is one of the second largest park in United States of America. So I'm very glad that I visit this park. This is also among the park spot. Actually, the sunset was amazing. That's why I couldn't take my eyes. So that I started to quickly to do chalk pastels, because in landscape painting, the air is always continuously changing from minute to minute. That's why I keep like doing 5 pieces of this. From that 5 pieces, I combined and make one piece of this. The title is Across the Way. You can see there is a way, a perspective representation of the way, and the lighting and everything is beautiful in that moment. This is also another painting from the park. When I have the chance to go lower, this is the lower part of the park. Actually, the park is just like it have different places with, it look like a different landscapes, but it has also a different environment. This is the lower part of the park that is composed with a lot of savanna grasslands, and it seems like the grass and the environment is so natural. It doesn't seem like in the park, but actually it is in the park at the lower part. This is my last piece from the park. This is the highest peak from the park. The chief gardener allows me. I told him that I really fell in love with this different landscape. So he took me to the highest part. As you see, the previous one is the lowest part of the park. You can see more grassland, but this one is the highest part for the park. So there is a mountainous area, but with a lot of vegetations. And since it is fall, a lot of different colors of the leaves and the trees community gives the paintings different style comparing to the others one. So this is all my experience in Louisville and International Visiting Leadership Program. Indeed, from New York, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, and Miami, Louisville is my most favorite one because I feel very closer to nature. I feel very closer to the people, and I feel very closer to myself. We have also have the chance to talk about very intellectual issues like LGBTQ, migration, humanity, and others, very important stuff for allowing to express as a human beings. So generally, I want to finish my presentation by this. So thank you so much for your wonderful time. If you have any questions, suggestions, or comment, I would like to hear from your side also. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was fantastic, Jonas. Thank you so much. And it looks like we already have a couple of questions in the chat. I would also like to thank you on behalf of the World Affairs Council. Just we're so glad that you have fallen in love with our city, and the way that you represent it in your paintings really showcases so much of its natural beauty. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts as well. Um, our first question is from Aman Robele. And so his question is, he is an aspiring artist in high school. Do you have any tips for starting out as a professional artist? And what are your favorite mediums?
Oh, thank you so much. This is a wonderful questions. My first experience as an artist is when I was in high school. In creative process, what I really want to allow for my students, I am a teacher also. I teach at high schools and I teach also at the universities. The biggest resource for creative process is inspiration. Whether you inspire from nature, for example, you are so lucky. I can tell you, I have been like for 5 days, 6 days, including staying in Louisville, but I create more than 30 pieces, 30 art pieces. So you could inspire from nature. You could also inspired from dialogue, because art is allow us to keep communicating. So a single dialogue could be turned out to be one of the best creative process in your life. So keep connecting to nature, keep connecting to people, because people are have very different stories. I can tell you from the high school, the previous digital art of mine was totally inspired from their inspiration, from their voice. So I end up communicating with the high school people, for the high school students. And when I come to my country, there was a digital context, and it is all about uh, telling about migration in the ways that migration is something is bad. It is something bad from one country, from one other country. So rather than I have the chance to talk to every individual, what do you feel about migration? Do you have a good stories of migrations, or what are your stories? As a matter of in fact, I discovered that we all migrated in a day, from our home to our work, sometimes from school to, you see, migration is all about allowing yourself to adapt to new environment. So you can inspire from all over the place around your area. So I will advise you to read more, to communicate more, to listen more, and to be closer to nature. So after all, nature is a whole source of creativity.
That is excellent. And I let's see. I also wanted to apologize. I'm reading here in the chat that Aman is actually a young woman. I did not mean to misgender her.
Oh,
And so she is a high school student from Ethiopia who is an incredible artist, and she teaches refugee children at Iroquois Library. Um,
nice.
so
What is her
wonderful.
name?
Thank you so much for your question, Aman. Um, and then the second question we have in the chat so far is from Sophie from the Iroquois Library as well. And she says, we were able to share a meal in Louisville at an Ethiopian restaurant. I'm writing to ask
Ah,
if a link could be
yeah.
shared where we might find these beautiful paintings. The Olmsted Parks Conservancy must see these paintings. You have made me fall in love once again with Louisville through your eyes. Did you take photos and then paint from these photos, or are they based on sketches done in the moment? And
Uh,
speaking to her about like the paintings, we would absolutely love to set that up later. I'll follow up with an email with the Olmsted Parks Conservancy. So fantastic
uh,
idea.
okay, thank you so much. This is also a wonderful questions. For personally, I would always want us to to draw directly from nature. So, but drawing, painting a landscape is a difficult one because of the reason the mood, the environment is continuously changing from the minute to minute. So what I have done is that I take a thumbnail sketch book, a very small one, a medium thumbnail sketch book, and a pencil watercolor and a watercolor and brush. So I have done a very small sketches. Sometimes when I become not that much quick, because you see, when I become adapted to new environment, I become just like a child. So I sometimes forgot to draw or to paint, and I wondering that how it is so beautiful. So in that case, I write colors separately. Again, it is my personal preference that I do not take pictures, but it is also for example, my paintings is more like romantic painting, landscape paintings. That means I'm very emphasized with the colors, with the textures, with the environment, particularly with the moment itself. So, but there are other landscape artists like hyper-realistic artists or photorealistic artists who can take a camera with them and to take particular different views, and from that they would take as a reference one. But my advice always for every artist is that first you have to fall in love with the environment. Imagine that if you can take one character, if you really feel that character, for example, if that character is a very gentle lady with a son or a daughters, if you really feel that character, the script would become a guideline, but the truth comes from allowing your character to immerse it in your heart. So, especially if you really love to paint landscape or to do landscape, first, my advice would be try to be free and try to fall in love with the environment. So that will help you a lot. And I also take a small thumbnail notes that for example, in the fall, in the oak tree, I take a lot of colors. I take notes. Even I write some poems from that environment. So it will transcend different ideas to it become a raw material. So all the sketches, all the small thumbnail, chalk pastel and watercolor paintings, sketches allows me to recall my memory on that particular one. So the greatest secret I can tell you is that focus and be on that particular moment and time. You can see if when you see the landscapes, you simply fall in love with them, because I that inspiration, that moment is allowed to be painted on that particular time. So that would be my advice. But every steps, even taking a photograph, could be very helpful. But it is my preference not to take pictures rather than to sit down and sketch and write the moments to capture in my paintings.
That is excellent. And thank you for giving us that insight into your process as well. I was curious about that too. Um, it looks like the last question is from Marilyn Sachs McMillan. And she says that she had to join a bit late and will be posting a link to the program later on. And I guess the great thing is, Marilyn, that it's already posted to Facebook. So you can come back and visit it at any time that you would like. Once this program concludes, it'll be on Facebook for the next couple of weeks. So you're welcome to view it at that link. And then I think I guess, last call for questions. If we have any other live questions in the chat, I guess I'll give you about another minute. But once again, I would like to thank everyone who came today. We are so happy to see so many people attending our virtual programming. And Jonas, it was a delight to hear from you. I love all of your art, and it's so nice to hear about when our programming was in person and the impact that that had. And just all of your takeaways from Louisville are so heartwarming. And for those who would like to attend future programming with the World Affairs Council, I would love to direct you to our website, worldkentucky.org. And every month we have a program of this nature where we have an exchange maker or someone who is a previous participant in our programs or who has visited Louisville. And we also have a host of other programs that are listed on the website. So once again, thank you so much to Jonas. Thank you for everyone who attended. And we look forward to seeing you in the future at other programming. So thank you
Okay.
again.
Thank you so much.